This is Shawn Green. Thanks for tuning into the Online Zone on Card Player TV. This is the Online Poker Weekend Recap. This weekend saw both John Pearl Jammer Turner and Danny the D-Rye Ryan, or the Dry as some people call him, make it deep at high-profile final tables. Keep watching to find out how they did. Full Tilt's $500,000 guaranteed tournament was the only of the 4 tournaments in this recap to see an increased attendance this weekend, but the other tournaments weren't far down. The PokerStars Sunday Million, for instance, had 6,959 entrants, which was down just 95 entrants from the previous weekend. The Sunday Million had a prize pool of $1,391,800, and first place stood to earn $196,000 for his trouble. Let's take a look at the elimination hands at that final table. Ann Karen was the first to go when she called all-in pre-flop with pocket jacks and was dominated by 5-9-0-2-8-3-81-81's pocket queens. The queens held up and Ann Karen was out in 9th place. 5-9-0-2-83-81-81's name is not going to be fun to say for the rest of this recap. Next, Lost Remote open pushed all-in pre-flop and was called by EC10, who showed Ace-Jack suited. EC10 was dominating Lost Remote's Ace-8 as the board ran dry. EC10's Jack Kicker was enough to claim the pot and put Lost Remote out in 8th place. Professor 122 was the next to hit the ropes when he pushed all in against a pre-flop raise from 5-9-0-2-83-81-81. 5-9-0-2-83-81-81 called and showed Queen 10 and was dominated by Professor 122's King Queen. The board, however, brought 4 clubs to match 5-9-0-2-83-81-81's Queen, and his flush took Professor 122 out in 7th place. Infatilt then open pushed all in for 14 times the big blind, and 5-9-0-2-83-81-81 called in the big blind and showed pocket 7s. He was in a decent lead versus Infatilt's Ace-6 as the board put out blanks. Infatilt's aggressive all-in sent him packing in 6th place. Notable Internet Pro EC10 stack then took a hit when he called when Technology pushed all in as the short stack. EC10 turned over Queen Jack suited and was in a race against Technology's pocket 10s. The board failed to significantly improve EC10 and his stack was down to less than 10 times the big blind. He pushed all in the very next hand when the action folded to him in the small blind. Princess 13 called and showed Jack 10 and was slightly behind EC10's King 5. The board gave EC10 2 pair, but left Princess 13 with a full house to eliminate EC10 in 5th place. Princess 13 didn't get to enjoy her newfound wealth for long when she pushed all in the small blind soon thereafter. Chips and Cheese called and showed Ace-8 suited, which was dominating Princess 13's Ace-7 suited. The flop was terrible news when it came all hearts, leaving Princess 13 drawing dead. She was out in 4th place. Technology had a massively short stack compared to his opponents, and he was the next to go down to the felt in the very next hand. He went all in the small blind and 5-9-0-2-83-81-81 called in the big blind and showed King 10 suited. He was ahead of Technology's 9-8 and rivered an unneeded king to take Technology out and get heads up with Chips and Cheese. 5-9-0-2-83-81-81 had almost twice as many chips as Chips and Cheese, but the heads-up match was not over quickly. With $70 million total in play, Chips and Cheese took a $20 million pot off of 5-9-0-2-83-81-81 with a full house versus 5-9-0-2-83-81-81's counterfeited 2 pair. Chips and Cheese pulled into the lead. 5-9-0-2-83-81-81 then fought back and took a $20 million pot from Chips and Cheese in the very next hand when Chips and Cheese folded a huge pot on a board of Ace-8-7 Queen with 3 spades. The two were back to where they started. 5-9-0-2-83-81-81 then made an excellent call on a board of 8-5 Queen 5 with King 8 to take down a pot versus Chips and Cheese's counterfeited 2 pair with pocket 3s. Chips and Cheese was crippled, but managed to get his stack back up to $23 million, and the two players were again virtually back to where they started the match. But 5-9-0-2-83-81-81 held on to the lead before the final hand. In that hand, a pre-flop raise fest left Chips and Cheese pushing all in, and 5-9-0-2-83-81-81 calling and showing King Jack. Chips and Cheese held a slight lead with pocket 6s until the turn brought a Jack, putting 5-9-0-2-83-81-81 into the lead. The river bricked out and 5-9-0-2-83-81-81 raked in the final pot to snag the $196,000 first place prize. The $500,000 guarantee over a full tilt was back this week after last week's superbly successful $1 million guarantee. It came back in style when 3,446 entrants bought in compared to 2 weeks before when 3,008 bought in. This Sunday's attendance built a prize pool of $689,200, which was almost 40% more than guaranteed. The tournament had some star power when Danny the D-Rye Ryan made the final table. The D-Rye made it heads up with Gig Joe's Mo. The match lasted 5 minutes before the final hand. Gig Joe's Mo open pushed all-in pre-flop for almost $8 million, with the big blind at just $160,000, and the D-Rye thought for some time. Gig Joe's Mo goaded him on by saying, "Call, let's go, call," and the D-Rye finally said, "Good luck, sir," and called with pocket threes. Gig Joe's Mo held a dominating pocket sixes and spiked an unnecessary set on the river to win the tournament. The D-Rye made $75,000 for second place, and Gig Joe's Mo won $123,000 for first place. The Ultimate Bet $200,000 guarantee had 965 entrants on Sunday, down slightly from last weekend's 998. The tournament required a $7,000 overlay. The tournament came into an anticlimactic end when F4ZI and Dang Doko Dang sat out for 20 minutes during heads-up play to arrange a chop deal. Ultimate Bet doesn't support deal making, so they had to set up the money trade unofficially. They agreed to an even chop in the chat box, and once the money went through, F4ZI sat in to steal the blinds and end the tournament. F4ZI officially earned the $45,000 top prize. The Bodog $100,000 guarantee had 887 entrants on Sunday, just 16 entrants fewer than it had the previous week. Bodog came out of pocket for $11,300 to match the posted guarantee. Internet poker superstar John Pearl Jam Turner made the final table of the event and eventually got heads up with Henge. Henge had the chip lead by more than 2.5 to 1, but Pearl Jammer took over the lead in the very first hand of heads up play. Henge pushed all-in pre-flop with ace-2, and Pearl Jammer called with a dominating big slick. He took down the pot to take over the lead, but Henge still had a formidable stack. The match was close, but Pearl Jammer was in the lead for the final hand. Pearl Jammer re-raised all-in pre-flop, and Henge called all-in and showed ace-6. He was ahead of Pearl Jammer's king-jack until the flop brought a king to put Pearl Jammer into the lead. The turn-in river bricked out, and Pearl Jammer took down the tournament and the $25,000 first-place prize. That's all for this week. Good luck on the digital felts, and thanks for watching the Online Zone on Card Player TV.